Opening up your home to the general public for showings is a stressful experience by itself. And if it's not done correctly, it could actually cost you money. Hi, this is Dennis Isip with Haven Real Estate. After accompanying buyers hundreds of times and letting them see the houses that they're interested in, I've basically come up with 2 recommendations for home sellers. Number 1 is to plan on showing for 1 weekend. I actually have a video that I created how to sell your home in 5 days. And I'm going to leave you a link below in the description so that you can review that later. So if you happen to be successful in getting your home sold in 5 days, that means you can go back to your privacy and enjoy it until you actually move out. But the second thing that I highly recommend is to avoid, if not minimize, any interaction with any buyer at all. You see, the home buying and selling process is actually a very emotional transaction. I have observed time and time again where buyers and sellers have their emotions take over, and to the point that they don't realize what they're doing. Well, the reality is the objectives of buyer and seller are actually directly opposite of each other. One wants the highest price while the other wants the lowest price. Even the slightest things from the garbage to the mailbox can trip up the entire transaction and make it fall apart. So a case in point I have is actually a seller that I represented. And we had already signed the listing contract, but it hadn't been posted in the listing service yet because the pictures weren't available. But I had made arrangements for a buyer to come and take a look. Fortunately, there was this interaction between buyer and seller. And then a couple of days later, the buyer couldn't wait for the paperwork and made a direct contact with the seller. And what they were trying to do is make a direct deal and cut out the agent in the process. So the seller brought it to my attention, and the seller didn't want to deal with that buyer anymore. Now eventually the buyer did make a good offer, but because that level of trust had already been eroded, the seller rejected it, and there were other circumstances that made the deal fall apart. After that, mistrust had escalated, spiraled out of control between the 2 parties. So in conclusion, please don't underestimate the emotional factor of the home selling process. Leave it to your listing agent in order to be a buffer between you and the other party and let them roll with the punches, so to speak. So having that professional in between will help you get what you want as a seller and let you move on to the next chapter of your life. So that's our video tip for today. I'll see you in our next edition.